This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road to go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Don Lemon of CNN going full Andrew Tate, full alpha male Chad on Nikki Haley, talking about, hey, she's not in her prime because she's beyond the age 25, 30, whatever they say the prime is for a woman. Now, this was a hilarious moment. The co-host on the show got really offended, really triggered immediately, right away. He was trying to make a point about what she was saying as far as requiring competency tests for anybody over the age of 75 who's still in office, which was a good point, by the way. But the point he made probably fell flat on that particular platform. And before we get to that full clip, let's watch the clip that he was referring to, because Nikki Haley, as you guys may or may not know, has announced her run for the presidency. And it's caused quite a bit of reaction. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll the first clip.
In the America I see, the permanent politician will finally retire. We'll have term limits for Congress. And mandatory mental competency tests for politicians over 75 years old.
Now, what she's saying here is right on point, because one thing I noticed about the State of the Union address was how old everybody was. I'm talking about people are so old that I'm sure at the very front of the building, at the entrance of the actual chamber, you got a bunch of canes and walkers and scooters and everything else. The average age had to have been about 85 years old. I'm talking about they're very old. I'm no ageist. I'm not trying to attack someone for being old, but good grief, can we get anybody that's not 85 years old, who does not require a walker or a cane? Can we get some young blood up in the mix, perhaps? So her point about that makes perfect sense. And we all know what's going on right now with our president, who is 80 years old and is clearly having cognitive decline. We see what's going on. So she's making a very good point about requiring competency tests for those over the age of 75. Now, the question is going to be, who's going to administer the test? Because we've seen some fugazi doctors talking about, oh, yeah, clean bill of health, John Fetterman, but I digress.
Most of all, I see a strong America because I see a proud America. Strong and proud, not weak and woke. That's the America I see. The America I see will win the fight for the 21st century. We'll have the courage and confidence to defend our values and defeat our enemies.
Now, that was a really good speech right there, a good opening speech. Would I vote for her? Probably not. If it was between her and Trump and Ron DeSantis, I think DeSantis first, Trump second. Really, you could kind of interchange them. They're like 1A, 1AB. They're really close. But Nikki Haley, I don't think she would really win. I don't think we're prepared for a female president as of right now. Oh, I almost forgot. Let me stop tripping. Let's look at the next clip here of your man Don Lemon talking about some alpha dog, YouTube dating coach type advice right here. Let's go ahead and check it out.
This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road to go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
Triggered right away. Look at that. Instantly triggered.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not a.
Nah, he's got to walk it back. No, it's not me saying it. Look, it's not me saying it. You Google it. It's right there. It's not me. I would never say anything like that because you guys are beautiful. You guys are 47 years old with dogs and cats. You're beautiful. That's what he's trying to say right now.
According to me.
Prime for what?
It depends.
Upset.
And it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful.
Oh, so she must be in. She looks good to be in her 40s. Yeah. So yeah, she's straight. She don't got to worry about nothing.
About saying that politicians aren't in their
I
prime.
think we need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing, or are you talking about prime for being president?
What the facts are. Google it. Everybody at home. When is a woman in her prime?
This is exactly why people don't really want to have a woman to be the president, is because they think they're going to be run by their emotions and they can't really hear. Like, I understand what he's trying to say. I understand the point that he's trying to make. I don't agree with it, but I understand. He's saying, hey, well, if you want to talk about prime, she's not in her prime, because if you Google when there's a woman in her prime, they're going to say in their 20s and 30s. Okay. But he's not trying to say that he agrees with it. He's trying to counteract what Nikki Haley is talking about with the politicians not being in their prime, meaning these guys are not mentally sound. And furthermore, why make it be a female thing, no, Don Lemon? Because she did not say male politicians. She didn't say Joe Biden or Donald Trump by name. She said all politicians, because you do have women in Congress, in office, who are 1,000 years old, like Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Dianne Feinstein, the list goes on. Hillary Clinton is still kicking, and she was barely able to get through the campaign back in 2016 without being physically dragged through.
It says 20s, 30s, and 40s, and I'm just saying Nikki Haley should be careful about saying that politicians are not in their prime, and they need to be in their prime when they serve, because she wouldn't be in her prime, according to
Google?
Google or whatever it is.
They're so triggered. That's hilarious. Don Lemon, he's a funny guy. I mean, if the late night or whatever he does, this mid-afternoon, Days of Our Lives, soap opera hour show doesn't work out, man, go to late night comedy and do something like that, man. Be Jimmy Kimmel or something, man. You're a funny guy. But anyway, that was a very cringe segment, but hilarious to see his co-host get so triggered like that about his comments. I don't agree with what he's saying. I think that we all know what's going on to politicians. They're too old. I mean, I'm not, again, I'm no ageist or whatever, but come on. At a certain point, if you are 175 years old, you probably shouldn't be on the road in the Dodge, Hellcat, Scat Pack, or whatever. That might not be the car for you. You might need to be in driving Miss Daisy. You be in the back seat, a backseat princess, a passenger princess, and be chilling, and let some random guy, some driver drive that is young enough to be cognizant of what's happening very quickly. Okay. Every time on the road, you might get a little road rage or whatever, and you're behind a very slow vehicle, and you pull up to them, and you see somebody that's like 1,000 years old, like, okay, they get it past, they're elderly. We know what it is. So if we know that when talking about people on the road, or when you're working or doing certain things that require a lot of physical activity, then why does that same logic not apply to those in Congress who are very old and should not be there? It's very simple. So what Nikki Haley was saying is correct. Would I vote for her? Probably not. I have nothing against her really, but it's not really my cup of tea politician wise. But what she was saying was right on point. Don Lemon, that was a nice try, but no cigar. And your co-host definitely didn't like it. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about Nikki Haley running for president? Are you team Nikki Haley? Are you team Donald Trump, team DeSantis, or somebody else? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about Don Lemon's attempt to make a point? Did it fall on deaf ears? Was it a good point, bad point? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. His attempt to make a point was hilarious. And what Nikki Haley said was right on point. I don't see how anybody could disagree. Yeah, I mean, seriously, because it's not even about male, female, black, white, or whatever. It's, are you able to do the job? Are you still mentally capable of doing what you did at age 192 that you were when you were 35 years old when you first got into Congress? You first got into Congress when Lincoln was living, when they still had slave plantations, and here you are right now in 2023 still kicking. Are you still kicking at the same level that you did back 5,000 years ago? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.